Is Aaron Rodgers the strangest man in sports? Well, at the very least, he is the most polarizing figure in football today. If you asked 100 people about him, you would get 100 completely different answers. But he kinda shocked the world when the multiple-time MVP winner said for a moment he was going to quit football forever. That's what happened in the offseason of 2023, just where he found himself a few weeks ago. So why did the team he played with for over 10 years give up on him? To say that fan perception around Aaron has changed in the last couple of years would be underselling it. But Aaron Rodgers has even endured his own family turning against him publicly. So how did the constant criticism make him love competing even more? That's what we're gonna discuss today. What happened to make Aaron Rodgers suddenly want to give up on the NFL? Before we break the huddle, please give this video a thumbs up to show us some support. And subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Now, tighten the chin strap and bite down on your mouth guard as we take you through one of the most bizarre sports stories of the year. So come on and let's go find out.
What happened?
An avalanche of drama and public beef. Most quarterbacks don't immediately head into the deep woods to immerse themselves in the darkness following an NFL season, but most quarterbacks are not Aaron Rodgers. The longtime NFL vet has been beating his own drum for years now, but that's what also brought him to the verge of NFL retirement too. After enduring a very public draft day embarrassment, where the projected #1 pick fell all the way to the end of the first round, Aaron let his play do the talking for a long time. He won a Super Bowl, set a bunch of records, and did enough to be considered the most talented player in the league. Notice I say talented and not best, because that's sorta where things begin to go off the rails. You see, Aaron has spent his entire career up in Green Bay, Wisconsin with the Packers. But Cheesehead fans will vouch for me when I say that the Aaron Rodgers experience maybe hasn't led to winning quite as much as the fans or the league probably anticipated. But blame for that lies on both sides. Some will say that Aaron has underperformed in the big moments, which has some truth to it. Fans of Aaron will be quick to point out that the bad man, as they call him, hasn't exactly gotten the help around him that some other great QBs have always been afforded, which is also sort of true, especially in the last couple of years. No matter what way you slice it though, things have not been going all that well over at Lambeau Field as of late, with this past year being one of the worst. After being a team that has been on the verge of winning it all for basically every year, the Packers missed the postseason entirely last year, and a lot of blame fell once again on Aaron Rodgers. But could a little bit of criticism really pushed Aaron Rodgers to leave the Green Bay Packers? The infamous darkness retreat. Like I said, Aaron Rodgers is kind of a weird dude. He loves to talk about popular conspiracy theories to his backup QBs. And in typical California dude fashion, he also likes to take mushrooms and talk about the universe. But to the fans, who the heck cares, as long as he's still slinging it on Sundays? You know, save the shenanigans to the offseason. And that's basically where things have been for the last few years, until a few months ago. Because with things going as bad as they did for Aaron and the team, the gossip about his personal life hit an all-time high. So Aaron decided it would be the perfect time to hit the reset button on all the noise he was hearing. So Aaron got the idea to head up into the wilderness and spend a few days in a little cabin in the middle of nowhere. Not exactly what I would call luxury, but to each their own. While in the cabin, Aaron would be completely surrounded by darkness, and he would have to physically feel around him to be able to move. The hope, Aaron said before going, was to recenter his mind and to help decide what the next chapter of his life looked like. So obviously you can't just pull out your phone in a place like this, and keep that in mind as it does become a bit more important. The Packers make their move. So while Aaron is living blind in the woods, eating a bunch of s'mores, I presume, the Packers were also trying to figure out what they were going to do. They haven't exactly gotten along swimmingly with Aaron Rodgers the last couple of years, and recently it's become obvious. The Packers felt handcuffed to his prima donna QB attitude and his increasingly weird antics. And since this last year was a bit of a dud, this was their first chance at cutting ties with the future Hall of Famer, and they were determined to finally take back control. So they called Aaron to have a serious discussion, but remember, they got no answer. They tried a few more times and then called his agent, who informed them he was on a darkness retreat. Well, this seemed to anger the Packers organization quite a bit, deciding they were officially done waiting. And publicly, the Packers let it be known they were officially shopping Aaron Rodgers. Again, one of the best quarterbacks of the last decade. And so the calls began coming in from other teams. But what the other teams didn't know is that Aaron Rodgers had absolutely no clue any of this was happening. Hanging up the cleats. Ironically enough, as the Packers began shopping Aaron around in an effort to find a team who wants him, the QB himself was contemplating if he even wanted to play football anymore. When compared to other players of his caliber, Aaron has had a hard time of it, dealing with constant criticism from strangers as well as his loved ones. A few years ago, Aaron's brother appeared on the popular dating show The Bachelorette. And on the show, the brother outed Aaron, saying he no longer speaks to anyone in the family, explaining that his parents were not happy with him. And since Aaron Rodgers was always a private person, this personal news outing shocked both fans of football as well as Aaron Rodgers himself. The story eventually blew over, and of course, Jordan Rodgers won The Bachelorette too, as the Rodgers brothers do win most contests. But in many ways, that event is what led to the version of Aaron we see today, one that now has to share his interests and opinions with the world. A private person outed for good. Another issue in this tornado is kind of Aaron's own habit of antagonizing the media, something that has also made the prospect of retirement all the more appealing to the 39-year-old. Aaron famously evaded a question about whether or not he was vaccinated a few years back, again making his name come up in the news for something other than football. And as a result, Aaron began blasting the media for talking about everything but his play. But all this only made the criticism around him worse. And as Aaron sat in complete and total darkness, he was a bit relieved to not have to field stupid questions. Not about routes and overthrows, but about politics, beliefs, or worse of all, why he hasn't won a Super Bowl in over a decade. Out of the darkness. Aaron hoped to emerge from the darkness a changed man, free to address the world whenever he felt ready. But unfortunately, because of the Packers' bold and public decision, that's not exactly how he could play it now. You could argue that Aaron may have had a totally different decision had he not been immediately greeted with a completely different world than the one he left. The bright lights brought news. He was no longer the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, but instead in a weird, nebulous place where he was either retired or without a team to call his own. Many thought this would push him away from the public eye, but Aaron Rodgers did not run away. And instead of being worn down by the public statement of "we don't want you anymore," Aaron Rodgers was actually reinvigorated by it and found the honesty refreshing. So, within the span of just a few days, Aaron was no longer tied to a loveless marriage in Wisconsin and was free to journey to New York City to join his new potential team, the Jets. Here was a player who was sick of the noise, of the lies and the speculation around him, choosing to join the media firestorm in America, and he did it with a smile on his face. It turned out the only thing that could coax Aaron Rodgers out of retirement was the chance to prove everyone wrong just one more time. This time, this season, on the country's biggest stage, the bright lights of New York City. Alright, football heads, get in the comments and tell me your thoughts. Do you think Aaron should have stuck to his decision to retire? Or do you think he's actually got some big things ahead in New York? For all you Packers fans, are you sad? Do you wish he would have played his entire career as a Packer? What's the best play you ever saw him make? The guy's got dozens to pick from. Get in the comments and tell me all things Aaron Rodgers past and what do you think the future holds. Maybe he'll pull a Brady and play till he's 62. We can't wait to read your thoughts. Before you head to the exits, please give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe to our channel and come back often so we can keep telling you what happened.
What happened?